She is a lemming. She's gonna kill herself. If they didn't want to go right all the way, they shouldn't have gone that far in the first place. The tale of a lowly idol group and the race war baiting AI. Doesn't matter all the fucking options you have in the conversation scenes, actions speak louder than words. What, you losing your memories? You know what? You be you, girl. I believe in you. You should just kill yourself. Like, what are you doing, Wise? Please, just love yourself. Just let other people take the burden. The best part of season fucking 2 is a side story you don't even have to play. Oh god, it makes me angry just talking about it. I'm crashing out about a fucking anime game. Zenless Zone Zero's villains are kind of trash. You are great, Proxy Wise. I love you. Also, Bell's here. God, I'm unemployed. Zenless Zone Zero shit the bed at the most important moment in its story. Completely falling face forward into the ground as I mix metaphors. And as this is academia, I must now prove my assertion. Welcome to the most unemployed stream you have ever seen. Now, let's set the ground rules. The ground circumstances. This screen is barely going to change, so place it on in the background, put it on your second monitor and look away, because there isn't going to be any flashing lights for you, aside from a sock occasionally moving between talking and smoking a pack of Lucky Strikes. I played through all of Zenless Zone Zero Season 1, just for reference. This is a reference for sitting out the backing. Honestly, I don't know how ZSC's story, I've just been staring at the rats for 60 hours. That's true. An acceptable position. Which is why I must now establish what I've played through for this. Season 1, I actually played the game. Up until about halfway through the Season 1, I was playing the game. Then I stopped. Because every campaign mission, they just give you the right people to play through every mission and balance it out for how long they want you to play the mission with like the spectacle. So you don't actually need to bring your own units into the story. You don't even have to have good units. You could be a level 0 loser. Actually, not a level 0. You'd have to get through parts of Season 1 when they were still saying bring your own team. But for the most part, I have not done dailies. I have not done any of the late gameplay. I have done no gameplay or combat outside those necessary for story elements. I have not done any of the roguelike elements. I have not done any of the side quests. So if you're expecting me to review the side content about, I don't know, whatever the fuck, saving cats from trees, no, not happening. What I did do is this. Character side quests. These are specifically unlocked after events. Occasionally you get these character side quests for specific characters. And I also did the main quests. I did not touch any event content, so that is also another thing. I know that event content is story relevant. The reason I didn't touch it is because the moment I touched it, they tried to make me simulate being a Denny's in the middle of a desert, and I was like, fuck this. I'm aware that that has negatively impacted things, but it is what it is. So, keep in mind, this is not me gloating. I'm not gloating or trying to make an excuse. You just need to understand where I'm coming from when I give my thoughts on things. So you, and as I would have been, the person who is sitting there, who is seething after I say certain things, who has played 1,000 hours of the late game in this thing, who has spent hundreds of dollars making the bunny girl really, really strong, or, you know, heaps more so you can get the extra idle animation for one of the anime girls by having the 6 copies of her. That person is going to have a different opinion about story than me, because, well, half of their story is that their obsession with that particular, with their characters, which is fine, because I'm also a person who gets obsessed with anime girls. But specifically in Zenless Zone Zero's case, I ended up in a position where I was just doing story. So in more than any other person probably, I have treated Zenless Zone Zero as a free JRPG. Totally and utterly free. The whole time played on journalist mode. But not really, because the combat is actually well tailored to like just playing through and having that spectacle hit perfectly. So there's the position I've had on it. So don't expect anything more. I haven't done any of that. Look at all that red up there. See all that red, those notifications? I haven't touched that shit at all. Actually, you don't see it because there's a chat in the way. Forget it. So, but to return to my position, Zenless Zone Zero shit the story bed. The reasons they did this were a few, and this is a bit shocking considering how I felt about Season 1. Season 1 went through and I was totally satisfied. In fact, more than satisfied. I was bought into it by the end of Season 1. I was here. And the reason I was bought into Season 1 is actually quite simple. The ever-present and undefeated chart. You didn't think that I was done with my academic aids, did you? Oh, no, no. We have the chart here. Please, we're a professional outfit. So yes, the chart is undefeated. Time, expectations, as long as you're above that line, everything's Gucci. So, Zenless Zone Zero Season 2 failed this chart. And perhaps in the worst possible period and worst possible way. And I will now establish where. But let's go through, bit by bit, and we'll set it up. Let's not rush ahead. First things first. Alright. Let me pull up the notepad. Okay. So, the first one up here, Chapter 1. This is right after finishing Season 1. Joining a cult because the teacher has massive boobs. Also, cultists. This is the Let's Go to Waifei Peninsula chapter of Zenless Zone Zero, which, for those who don't know, is the court-mandated China story arc, where we go to Little China Street and basically everything's Chinese. There's a cult, and by a cult I mean like a martial arts cult. There's also a normal cult, and by which I mean a cult of people who believe in an eldritch being. And there's, you know, your standard using chi to look through things. Everyone has superpowers, and it's like a complete new power system that is involved into the system. And you also go and move to that area. Your characters change clothes. Every single story will happen in Season 2, for the most part, no size in the end, in Waifei, the China land. So we just go to the CCP land. The reason they do this is because I believe the Chinese have a whole thing about the number 2. So that's why you always see gacha games have it for number 2. I look away for 2 minutes and I hear, the teacher with massive boobs and detective has pulled out a stonks graph. She does. And when we get to the true best girl of Season 2, we'll be talking about her more. But yes, Chapter 1 is just the introduction to the new area. It's an introduction to a new set of characters. And it's specifically, I need to mention the China thing, not because people hate it, because there is a lot of people who do hate the China thing. Yes, number 2 is considered lucky. That's why China is always number 2 in these things. And it's always like Western adventure, fantasy land usually, followed by China allegory. Now, the Season 2 is different because in Season 2, unlike Season 1, there is a single set of characters we focus on, for the most part. There are other characters that come into it, but Season 2, all of the characters who are in the little, the teacher, your other disciples, everyone else in, like, you know, the fucking store-bought Chinese martial arts fantasy world that you join is number 2. In number 2, we also, in the Season 2. So every one of these, Chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, all of them revolve around this cult. This martial arts cult is the main place. You stay there, you help them, you build it up. All of the like gameplay story elements are all about like building up that cult, making it look cooler, stuff like that. All of those things are dealt with over there. Chapter 1, it just deals with the cult is doing some sus things in the background behind a corpo that is in the area, and the corpo is just basically being a bitch to its employees. The employees have to go into essentially this is like a bunch of children going into like a coal mine and getting black lung constantly, but the children know perfectly well they're getting black lung, and the company being like, can I, like, you know, just penny pinch a little fucking bit more. And we follow a union's attempt to stand up to this. Funnily enough, the union turns out to be being completely used by the cult. It's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good opening. I would say that aside from the fact that it does introduce something that I think ends up being an ultimate negative, but in this moment and in this chapter was fine. They introduced the idea, because originally, if you don't know this, playing as either of the siblings, essentially you just stay at home on your computer and you just like fucking deep dive into little robot body, a little fat robot body, and you run around and you do everything there. So technically your face and the character is not in the story. They changed it up for chapter 1. Basically, they've activated some Deus Ex stuff in the siblings' eyes, some tech stuff, meaning that they can go into the hollow, because previously they'd go into the hollow and just like die, but now they can, and then go in there. So now basically your chosen sibling is much more involved in the story. This is a blessing in one sense and a curse in another. The curse comes from the fact that it separates the siblings too much, which does lead to some negatives. Because, well, me personally, because I personally think that Rin and Belle, or Belle if you're playing in the reasonable way, unlike me, should be way more involved. And the fact that she's not more involved and feels like a left out, like, random girl who just appears occasionally in a cutscene is depressing as shit. Like, they're doing a terrible job at that. But we'll get into it later. The point is, it's actually pretty good. This is an excellent opening. I wouldn't call it, like, crazy good, but I would just say really good. I would say, in fact, I would say, let's see this sort of thing. It was good to great. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was it was easily between those two pitches. Right there. Good to great. Massive titted anime girl teacher. The Fox Loli girl has a massive ass for some reason. There's a panda man. The union is actually evil. The corpos are doing corpo stuff, but ultimately being used by the cult. A whole bunch of people die. It sets the stage pretty high. A lot of people dying is also a big, like, because we're setting our expectations, right? People dying, I have an expectation for how this story is going to go. People have died here. And that's an important thing for later. They set an expectation that people die. That excited me. Good stuff. Expectations went up. They were met. Very nice. Chapter 1, good job. Now, things start to go downhill relatively quickly. So, Chapter 2, same place. Those corpos who turned out were not the actual evil guys that everyone thought. It was actually the Union. Turns out to be, instead, the corpos are evil. And we're doing some human testing. They also have a hot bunny girl. The human testing bit is done with, like, you meet a few characters, and this is a whole new set of characters who live in the area, and you go on a little adventure, finding out about the human testing, because it turns out the corpos working with the cult to try and make money. Of course, the corpos being complete fucking idiots. They were just doing the most evil shit you could possibly imagine, and now they're trying to hide it. Because of the previous story with the cult and attempting to kill off a bunch of people, the corpos are trying to cover their tracks. And in the process, we meet a really hot bunny girl, and it's great. And it's pretty good. And it shows another darker side of the world here. This is. It shows off the darker side because they, like, literally, like, kidnapped and kept a girl inside, like, a room as, like, a slave child. And the bunny girl's father, who came along to try and fix it, got murdered for it because they found out and was like, I don't want a child to be in this circumstance. So they fucking murdered him. We're going good here. Now, I think the first one was a little bit better with the twist and story, but generally I liked where things were going. There was good tension. There was good character drama. And here's the big one. The bunny girl, the girl who was getting human tested on, those characters really were shining. A lot of the stories Zenless does really good in are ones that focus in on those characters. On the bunny girl, on the redhead girl, who are like human tested. They focus in on the drama surrounding how they felt and overcoming those elements. You might say, hey, that's silly and simple. Of course that's it. But it's because other things later they try and do, which are separate from that, fall flat. So, I would say, good. We're doing great. Fine, you know? Good, great. Good start off. Excellent opener. I think Chapter 1 gets an extra bonus because it was an excellent opener since I was primed from Season 1. Chapter 2, very good. I haven't fallen off Waifei yet. I haven't made a great fall down. So, then we come along to the next part. So, in the end of Chapter 2, we revealed that the corpos were complete fuck-ups and they were doing some human testing. This gives the military an excuse to step in. There's a lot more in this one here. Oh, hey, hello, Arctic. In this one, there's a lot more tendency and willingness for Zenless to show the background of things, i.e. the politicking, the power jostling between the mayor, between the top's corporate entities, and between the military and also the peninsula people and the cult that you've joined. Okay, I really stopped calling them a cult. Let's call it the martial arts sect. We'll call them the sect. It'll be better. So there's a lot more background we see here. The military shows up to quote-unquote fix everything, but they're using it as an excuse to move in here. People are being paid off, and you go to like a meeting that is literally what I imagine a meeting that happened probably before the invasion of Iran. It's like a whole bunch of rich people with a whole bunch of wealthy people, like rich people and military people, and standing around and just kind of going, ha ha ha, yes, we won't scratch. I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine, and they do a pretty good job of it. Honestly, you feel pretty good. Also, they involved Rin a little bit here, which is pretty good, and I quite like that. But you get a bit more of that, and you're drawn into the military side of things. Because you were involved in the previous quest, you get more involved with the military side. And this is a much more... this set of characters is both better and worse, in a lot of ways. I find the military set of characters we're introduced to are kind of a bit like... but they do alright. They do alright. We've got Seed, which is peak. Seed was probably the best one, considering what we see about her later. As well as Isolde, whose name I'm thinking you're getting wrong, but she's like a military colonel who's working below another military commander who's a big corrupt piece of shit. Like, she's good. She's on the level, but he's a big corrupt piece of shit. And you go through the story working together with her and him and like the team that you're assigned to, trying to fix this thing with the cult while being hamstrung as the upper military is working with the corporate to try and hide stuff and gain stuff for themselves while all this is going down. So it's a little bit mixed up. All things mixed together around here, and it's a much more interesting political story. Oh, it's regularly scheduled ZZZ ranting. Yes, it is. Regularly scheduled. In fact, probably the last one for a while, considering it'll take a long time for Season 3 to come out. Pardon me. I hope you're all having good. Make sure you have tea or coffee in, boys. We can stop. You can pause at any time. This rant won't end. But yes, so Chapter 3 introduces a lot of good characters, and probably, but a little bit less interesting in some of the characters. And also, here's the negative I got hit with. The soldier girl shows up, and the sniper girl Trigger shows up. I never played their fucking event. Got no idea about them too much, although I do enjoy them, and I do enjoy playing them. Gameplay-wise, all that, great. And also, I should mention at this point, every single cutscene has been an improvement on the last cutscene. It has been nothing but great cutscenes and great visuals. The pacing of this story was excellent as well. This was the military screwing things up. And it's getting all like the military screwing things up, and we're trying to help out. Remember, throughout this, there's a common thread. So this is essentially Season 2 is one big incident that is playing out, and you're constantly with your sect of martial artists. They're constantly involved in the story. It's very like in depth with this. It doesn't feel like Season 1 where it was self-contained chapters. All these chapters are bleeding into each other, and that is both a big step up, because obviously before they were doing much more isolated stuff, but also a big risk, which we will come into later. So, good shit, because in the military one, they do a betrayal. the military lady. I think the military is one of the military ladies, and the story with some of your soldiers mixes together to reveal that the colonel that you thought was a good girl working beneath a corrupt piece of shit is actually secretly on the side of the cultists, and it leads to a big old mess. And it's very clear that she's a bitter soldier who watched too many of her men die and is just here for revenge. And like, all my people died. My friends died in the line of duty because of corporate corruption. It's an excellent twist and turnaround. Like, so obviously, if you're watching this, you know what was going to happen. Come on, let's not be honest. Like, oh, I got spoiled. But it's an excellent one, and probably one of the better ones. I would say this one goes again to a great position. So I'll say it now. The military shows up to fix everything. It goes wrong. Good, great. Is the peak of a chapter. Other parts have things that become peak, but in terms of a single chapter that came together pretty well, welcome to the top of season 2. It's in chapter 3. Let's get to the other 7. No, I mean, let's get up to rather chapter 6 and then the lowly adventure chapter. But forget about that. That's still far away. We're getting there. So, Chapter 4, the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end. Chapter 4 is, it takes a step back from the whole military stuff, because you solve the whole military adventure. The colonel doesn't do her evil, but she does get to kill she does, and this is an important one, she does get to murder, she does put the rat girl. I don't have the rat girl. But she does get to murder, the corrupt general, which is actually really cool. So once again, my expectations being hit. Now this is important. They're setting up expectations of people dying, consequences have actions, reveals of characters we trusted doing things that they shouldn't do, things not going perfectly, endings that were good, as in like the heroes won, but ultimately people died and people weren't convinced of like becoming better than themselves. People just still went and did evil, even though people that we liked. Now they did spoil us a little bit for that by making the colonel who does evil be a non-rollable character, but you know how it is. If you look, you know the kind of, if you played enough gacha games, you'll figure that shit out. But unfortunately, but fortunately actually, because I think it was good, I didn't pick her betrayal until probably about a little bit before. I'm not sure. You'd have to go back and check the streams, but general is okay. Now, anyway. Sleepy Octopus Lady is kidnapped by a cult of temporary thought forms. This one introduces the giant octopus lady with the massive tentacles on her ass. She is hot as balls. Good lord. The things I would have her do to me, and probably rip off skin in the process. Ooh. But, generally speaking, the story itself was a little bit lackluster. Essentially, you go into the Hollow and find a strange village with a bunch of people in it. You don't understand what's happening, but they all seem like they want to live here, which makes no sense because they're all constantly getting cancer. So that's very confusing. But it turns out all the people in the town are actually formations of Hollows. They're all formations of people who have become like horrible monsters and stuff. Holified, if you might say, yassified, similar concept, by original people who are being kept below the church. Essentially, they're all being put below the church in little bubbles, and their brains have been like expanded out into this strange form that is manifested, which is like a better version of themselves, but is fully self-aware and wants to live. So what eventually happens is you need to fight through these alternate versions of yourselves in the character party to find them and free the people down below, as well as the octopus lady who is being used in their ritual thing and systems. And you have to help get her out of the Hollow because she has some weird special powers and all that they kind of use. Also alongside this, of course, the sect and the cult with the main villain from season 1, which I haven't mentioned here, but she has been involved all throughout this. The cult chapter in this area has been constantly being involved with Sarah, or as they say in the Japanese, or Sarah if you're a normal person. who's been constantly doing shit, and she used her to further her own gains of looking for the creator one, which is their evil god that they all kind of try and like pray to. So that's the situation here. However, it's really, as an interesting idea, I can see it, but it really just becomes okay. It's the first kind of time that I felt like we were dragging a little bit in the story. What did it fall? I think what failed it was they didn't really attach a much emotional attachment to the village, because the idea is you're supposed to be like, oh, you have to kill these temporary thought forms. So they didn't do a great job there. There were some elements that were really good, like the girl who loves the conspiracy theory girl, who's looking for like hollow monsters and stuff like that, and finding out about how her dad and that. There were some really good emotional things there. There was like individual moments, but the height of the village and like the whole octopus girl, like it didn't hit. They probably needed to go harder in on the emotions of like, these people are real and you are killing them. They needed to go harder in on that. Instead, it felt just at the edge. It felt like they could have gone more, but they were worried you would care more or care too much. Keep that in mind. That's a problem we need to come back to. So basically, they chose the easier emotional way rather than going to the harder point that might be a little too much for the viewers and things like that. So it was just like of all of the chapters, I think this one felt the most like a individualized chapter within season 2. Like, as in, it wasn't related to the chapters, not counting the intermission chapter, which is its own thing. But yeah, it was the first start of cracks. It was mild cracks, but it was cracks. Chapter 5. Now, chapter 5, we are introduced to the one everyone wants to have sex with. And this would be the main girl across 2 separate chapters. And it's the fox woman. You've seen her all. Everyone's seen her. The game falls in love with her. And I mean that literally. The descriptions, the moments. It is full-on GFE experience. The girlfriend experience is here. And I'm all for it, baby. Basically, you meet a hot white-haired girl who's acting really weird. And she's like a fox woman. She's super hot. But also like very innocent and very lovable. You go through lots of story with her. She's like very, I wish I had a sex ratto. Who doesn't? Unfortunately, it wasn't the ratto, this one. Honestly though, I'm going to say it. As hot as ratto is, Fox Girl, basically way hotter. Good lord, when she puts on the Virgin Killer first date outfit, I was like, damn, I think I get it, guys. I think I fucking get it. I'm sorry, Ratty. I'm sorry, Rattis. This sweet fucking girl who is just like the sweetest, nicest thing ever is saying, is showing up here with like the sundress, and I'm fucking being one-shot, guys. What can I say? So yes, I'm the big fucking hot take is not me saying, oh yeah, Screw the Fox Girl. I love the Fox Girl. She's hot. Great work. And they fucked up a bunch of other things about her. But let's get into that when we get up to it. So, chapter 5 is dealing with some corpo shit, but her importantly. Especially because chapter 5, as much as it's its own story, really only is a setup for chapter 6. But chapter 5 is this girl, and I just should mention, this girl's brother was introduced in chapter 1 and has been involved in the background a lot throughout the first thing. So you've known all these characters. The setup and payoff, the foreshadowing is done very well throughout the chapter. A lot of the characters you meet before in moments. So chapter 5 is more or less showing and introducing. Anyway, I've now finished writing. I shall now attempt to detect whatever Jesse is talking about. Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't understand, Mr. White. The Fox Girl has these massive melons. And you see, right? She just Okay, I'm going to stop. So, essentially, chapter 5 is Fox Girl is hot. Fox Girl is also attached to a special sword. The special sword is in the sect's history. So in the history of the sect, there's this special sword. It's a very dangerous weapon that we've already established in chapter 1, because Sensei, the character the big boob Sensei teacher, we talked to her and learned more about it. Before she took over the sect, all of her family and sister died. Her sister used this sword and it killed her, because the sword is a powerful sword that eats your memories and like existence and feelings and emotions, and eventually kills you in exchange for power. And this is a passive effect, so it will slowly do this even if you're not using it. It's a very, very dangerous sword, but extremely powerful, and you know, a big relic of their whole cult, sect, which is very cool. But so this cute girl has it. So you can imagine, oh shit, cute girl, dangerous dark artifact, and tragic backstory. Very good. You have me interested, Zenless devs. You have me interested. So this story really comes showing that her brother is eventually taken to the dark side. That girl, that villain Sarah, convinces the brother to, hey, join me. I know a way to disconnect your sister, who is the Fox Girl, from the sword. And the brother's all like, all right, you know what? That sounds great. I'm here for it. Just give me a way to disconnect my sister. Honestly, the brother is extremely based, and everything he does makes perfect sense, and I will hear nothing bad about him. He made the right choice. If you have a hot sister, there's two main things you do. 1, marry them. 2, save them from dark, evil swords that possess them. Also, the sister has like multiple personalities, sort of, because she has fucked up her brain, because ever since she was young, she's had this sword, and it has really screwed up her sense of wealth and sense of self. She's way, way too helpful. Like, the normal her is so willing to kill herself that, and for the sake of everyone around her, that the other members of the sect constantly treat her like fragile glass, because they know she'll kill herself given the opportunity. She is a dodo in training, but with way more superpower. She's a dodo with, like, I don't know, an expendable javelin. She's just gonna kill herself one day. Is the Fox Girl I'm all ears girl? No. Oh no, sorry, she's not a Fox Girl. I'm a fucking idiot. She's a horse girl. I don't think they ever go into the depth, but I'm pretty sure she's a horse girl. No, yeah, she's not all ears girl. Fox Girl is the one you've probably seen with the pink on her. Oh god, I could take a moment. In fact, I feel like it would help this story if we bring her up. Let me see if I've got a picture of her. Let's go to the agents here, so we may look at her. Oh, by the way, this is the hot sensei. You can see how I gave this a good grade immediately. Here's the loli with the ridiculous behind. But anyway, where is our important character? Wait, she's not here. Where is she? Give me a second, I'll find her. I'm brainlet, so... Oh, here she is. This is her. She is the ultimate virgin killer wearing fucking wife-girlfriend experience. And I mean this to the ultimate degree. Like, the way that she is described in text is like they're constantly talking about this, like how close she is, the feeling of her breath on your like cheek, like you know, it's so like the devs are in love with this girl, and they want you to be in love with this girl. Oh, okay. The chart is not helping. Let me remove that chart. That really disappointed. Yeah, sorry about that. The chart probably... Okay, bye chart. You can go away while I show off the sexy anime girls. Where is it? Let me show. Actually, let me go through. It'll be a good quiet time because let's recap the characters that came up here. So where is sexy... Okay, so this is the sect leader who you come across. Yes, I know I've changed it out. So look how hot she is. 10 out of 10. This is the loli with massive ass. Really good. And then we also, and here's the panda, he's also part of the sect. So these are great characters. These were all the puns, and these three men are constantly showing up. Then you meet, this is the child experiment. This is the child experiment, who was this is very funny. This is another friend from the child experiment. This is the bunny girl who comes along, whose father died. Then we have Octopus Lady, who would do horrible things to me, but ultimately her arc was not that good. And then we have, let me have a look here. Is there anyone else important? No, these are the important elements. Everyone else, there's, then the next quest here involves our fox woman. So, I mean, fucking God, I'm terrible. She is fully prepared to kill herself at any given moment. She will jump into fire if it saves a baby bird. She is fully ready to kill herself with a sword that eats her memories. Now, it is also established that sexy teacher lady hates that sword as well. And it looks like the sword isn't something you can stop being... Once you're connected forever to it. So she regrets greatly that the young girl, horse lady, managed to connect with the sword early on. It was like a big regret. So she spent her whole life making a seal around the box. It doesn't remove the effects of the box, but it lessens them as much as possible. So the sword is not eating her that much, but it's still eating her. It's a matter of like you use the sword, it starts going crazy. But if you don't use the sword, you might be able to slow its effects. So the brother is looking for a way, but it's not a complete emergency. As long as she doesn't use the sword, that's a key point. Don't use the sword, it won't eat your brain, okay? It won't kill you. These are important elements to establish. The sword is a clear, logical threat that is established. This sword eats the user. It kills the user. We have evidence of it killing the user. Other characters that are important have had people that they love die to this sword. They hate the sword. They also put a lot of effort into making a seal around the sword. So when we're introduced to this lovely girl who is just a pure girlfriend experience, who we are meant to love and care for, and we actually do, and she's like cute as fuck, and she's ready to sacrifice herself, and her own split personality has come off from that because she's like repressed all of her desires, selfish desires, so much so that it became a split personality. That's the white-haired one you see around. There's so much that makes you care about this, and they succeed. But remember the key points here. The sword gives super amazing power. The sword will eat you if you use it. The sword's effects cannot be stopped, only slowed down. These are important elements to understand about her, who's a little sacrifice bunny, and the sword. They are key elements throughout this story. Because remember, this sword story has started in chapter 1. We're just seeing more about it, and it's coming more into the forefront here in this chapter. Okay? So that's just, I just want you to establish that because it's important to understand why this all falls apart. All right. So, chapter 5. You and this girl meet up, and there's more or less an adventure to do with another guy, and also the corpos. The adventure itself is pretty good, and I did enjoy the adventure to a degree. It's just, it's a good adventure. Pardon me. It's a good adventure. And it introduces her, and it's great because but it's mostly you can feel that it's mostly a not a filler episode, but it's a branching episode. You would consider this episode chapter and the next chapter to be one chapter in a lot of ways. This is the setup for the climax, because remember, next chapter is the climax. They do the big climax, and then they have their cool down chapter, which they do with their little lolly idols that you've probably seen all around. So here, what happens is a robot man we meet who is a former killing machine, and this former killing machine has started his own martial arts sect, and is in a good relationship with our martial arts sect. I'll show you the robot man, so forgive me, but you'll have to look away from the sexy woman for a second. He's very cool. He's very cool, in fact, and he loves moving those balls. He moves them so well. He's a great character. He's basically a human weapon who gains sentience. And in this world, by the way, just for reference, this is not a, haha, you gain sentience and then you want to kill everyone. No. This is a literal, if our weapon systems gain too much sentience, they automatically gain citizenships in the city. The city is entirely prepared for Skynet, everyone's Skynet, including, like, you know, this girl later we see, Lolly Robot. But the point is, it's a story about him when he gained, he's got, like, because robots also have their own, like, internal stuff. He's the Overwatch. He is the Overwatch character, I would say. But it's a story about him when he's early on. He went crazy and he killed a bunch. He didn't kill a bunch of people. He let a bunch of people die due to his internal programming. It's a big regret for him. and he's trying to overcome it, and there's a whole bunch of betrayal and a whole bunch of revenge plots, and also the corporates, this girl here. She is literally, her and that pink bunny girl you've probably seen literally operate the internal security for the corpos, and essentially just do this. If the corpos go too far, they smack them down, but they also don't really work in the law, so they're a little bit in a black area. They're kind of like, they're dangerous agents that work for the top companies. The collective top companies, not any one top company, which is an important distinction. But they're deciding whether they want to kill this guy and take him back, because they could steal some stuff from him. And eventually, that's the crux of the issue for her, and also the bunny girl, which I will show. Where is Bunny? I have Bunny. Bun. There it is, Bun. She's great. She talks cute. She acts cute. But everything she's actually saying and doing is really evil. Well, not evil, but very brutal and direct, and like, I'm a corporate entity and I'm here to just make you a trade deal and then I'm going to kill you. She's great. I love her. Her story is actually a lot about dealing with the main character, Wise, or Belle, and also the horse girl before her, who I kept calling a fox girl. Yes, Pipkin Pippa's story is about her going from a Andrew Ryan approach to the galaxy, an Andrew Ryan belief in everything is about, paying something and getting something in return, and becoming someone who's a much more like, much more on the position of like, yeah, okay, maybe there's good in the world. But she takes a while to get there, and the slow development is really appreciated. I really like her. She's great. Accurate down to being a Fed. She's not even a Fed. She's a corporate Fed, which is a lot different. She actually doesn't really... She actually probably has killed several police officers. And given the fact that her trailer is literally her tracking down someone who stole from a corporation, honeypotting him with a VTuber model, coming into his room and then killing him... Kind of peak. Once again, expectations, boys. So we're seeing characters that are killing people. We're seeing characters that are morally gray. We're seeing outcomes that are negative, but are fitting within the politics and the culture of the world. It's important to establish. So essentially, this chapter here that we just go through, let me just get back to it. Chapter 5 here. The corpos come to kidnap a killing machine turned Zen master. Also, a second bunny girl hits the tower. This is the bunny girl, is a in-between chapter, but it's pretty good. I actually quite liked it. A lot of the characters, a lot of the build-up. Yeah, she does sound based. She's based. It's the reason I started playing the game when she came out as free again. I was like, what, free 5-star? And she's a cute rabbit that looks like Pipkin Pippa? Sign me the fuck up. So I jumped in, and hence we reached this point where I'm playing the game. Now, this is a good chapter. I wouldn't say a great chapter, but it's a good chapter. It really does a great, and I can't stress this enough, great job with characters. Throughout all of this, up to this chapter, Zenless has done a wonderful job with the characters, their internal struggles, and development beyond that. Their issues with their own powers, their issues with things that are affecting them, with their brothers, their sisters, their families, how they react to things. All of that coming together has been really well done. Why do you think I'm stressing this? Because something goes wrong. All right. So, we've finished off chapter 1, chapter 5. Just looking at this as it is, this is better than chapter... This is way better than season 1. This is solid. How could I say they shit the bed? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's because if you establish a long-running story that goes through all of these chapters and culminates in a big chapter 6, which is the final chapter for it, if you don't stick the landing, if that final chapter doesn't hit well, it reflects all of this negatively. I'm going to tell you the truth here. A good opening is perhaps the most important thing for a story to make people read it. A good middle and good build-up, that's important too, but it's not as important as an opening. But you know what's really important is how you stick that landing. Even if it's not the whole story, it's not like the end of Zenless Zone Zero, but if it's a major arc, the whole arc of this Chinese knockoff area in Chinatown, Chapter 6, which is Foxwoman with degenerative amnesia fights God, is, in my opinion, trash. Now, I know what you're saying. I know what you're hearing. I can hear your mind moving, you Zenless Zone Zero fanboys and girls. Let's be open. How could you say this? You said all this. Oh God! I told you. Were you watching the same thing I was watching? I was. And remember, outcomes matter. Endings matter. You can have all the good build-up you want. Everything can be great until the final 5 minutes. And if you do some fucked up shit there, if you make some errors on the final last step of this race, you will smack the ground and all the other runners will run right past you. How bad do you find it from JJK to CSM Part 2? Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's better ways to consider, because I haven't actually seen some all of I'm still watching elements of that, and I know that JJ and Part 2 there's a lot of things to be said there. So let me pull it back. To me, the level of quality dip was Part 1 of Death Note to Part 2. Now, people who know what I'm talking about, because they know the part that breaches those 2 points, is going, holy shit, bro, what the fuck happened? Now, I'm going to follow up this. We need to make... I'm adding in qualifiers so I'm not killed by Zenless Zone Zero fans. Not that anyone watched these. Hello, random person who found this on YouTube. What are you doing? Go watch my actual YouTube channel. Anyway. I'll establish this. So, the first thing we need to establish for Foxwoman, Foxwoman fights with degenerate amnesia fights God is this: throughout all of these stories, especially throughout Chapter 5, which was the lead-in for this, they established that Sarah, the villain, or Sarah, if you're playing in the superior Nihongo, the Sarah has been doing everything throughout the season, even using her own cultists as throwaway tools in an attempt to get to a point where she can become a vessel and call down the creator, which is their dark eldritch god, right? She's been doing all this for that. I didn't hate Death Note Part 2, it was okay. I didn't either, but I can see why people would hate it, and I do see it from, like, when I was younger and watched it, I did hate it. In retrospect, I kind of liked it, but I'm talking more in like an emotional gut punch level for back then. Anyway, so we have that character. So we have our villain who was set up all this time coming into this. They pull out the big villain, the going into that, trying to summon her god, which is crazy, and has led to it's leading to the Hollow going crazy. It's expanding. Everything's going wrong, right? And our Foxwoman with degenerative amnesia is all gun-ho to get involved here. She wants to be involved. She wants to help out. However, everyone else is saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do... It will literally kill you. And here's the big fucking failure. This is the big failure here. It's a breakdown of character as much as it is logic. The core element of this story here is Sarah is summoning a powerful god. A god that is, like, we cannot let it come about. It is a eldritch being. It will possibly expand the Hollow, possibly destroy, and they really go this far, destroy the city. The whole city will be destroyed. All of the city, all of Zenless Zero will be destroyed with this thing that she's doing. And she sacrifices herself in the 5th chapter to pull it about, and her brother and all these other things. There's a little bit of betrayal, but that's not important. What's important is they break logic and they break character. First, let me pull up. Let me pull it up. Who I'm talking about here? Where's me girl? Yeah. Okay. Remember who this is. This is your waifu, TM. we've have everything from you meet her when you're like a child and have like a cute romantic moment to like you go on dates and she has like, it's so romantic that it's like, if this were real people, I think I would be shocked they weren't having sex within the first chapter, to be honest. Honestly, I'm just throwing it out there. Now, this lemming, who wants to kill herself constantly, has a sword that eats her brain. Everyone's worried about this sword. Now, generally, the main character, Wise, is shown to be on her side. He wants her to be like, you know, you need to stand up for yourself and stuff. You don't need to follow what the sect says all the time. Because the sect brings in a few people, like shows off that they've got elements in the sect that really do treat her as a bit more of as a weapon or a traditional item, as opposed to like a real person. And the girl here, like she doesn't want, like he like the main character essentially, when you go along with it, like, yeah, let her go out on adventures and stuff, but you know, as long as she doesn't use a sword, it's okay. The problem is she starts using the sword. And here's the big error here. The main character, Wise, he is like a ladies' man. He's a Riz Lord. He loves this girl, probably, and she loves him, probably, and for some reason it is not established effectively enough. Wise continues to be on her side, even when you choose options to like be like, come on, don't do that. Continues to allow her to adventure with him, continues to allow her to use the sword, despite the fact he knows what it's doing to her. He knows what it's doing. He knows what it does and continues to allow it and tactfully approve of it. It's a big fucking error as a character. Imagine this. Imagine a romantic story between two characters and one half of it goes, yeah, you know, be free, kill yourself. That's important. No, Wise should have been very much against her using the sword. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, Wise does not sound very wise. Wise continued to allow her to use the sword and seemingly was very stupid in understanding its effects. He was always like, oh, I guess it's okay. Like, it didn't make any sense for him to be like that. Sure, there were some elements where she hides it, but Wise isn't stupid. It made no sense of how he was reacting to her using the sword, all right? So we've established that. That's a silly out-of-character thing. But it's a minor thing, ultimately, that mixes with another negative thing. We need to establish another thing. The sword is established very clearly. It is a dangerous weapon that gives power in exchange for memories, feelings, emotions. You will kill yourself to use this sword as its full power. Once you start using it as well, it begins a cascade of losing memories and like losing yourself, your emotions, your feelings, thoughts, all of that. And we get some amazing emotional choking up moments, some of the best moments in the story, with her desperately writing. Like we see a scene where no other one else sees. She's desperately writing and crying as she tries to write down the events of every single day and memorize them, because she's losing her fucking mind. She's forgetting the people she's met. She sees us, but she doesn't see us. She sees the person she wrote in a diary. It's really heart-wrenching. It's excellent character development of a character we care for, because she is a lemming. She's gonna kill herself, but we understand how she reaches this point, because she's been groomed into this. She has been forced into a position to be okay with this, to be ready to sacrifice herself, and she's buried down the emotional core of wanting to be herself, to want to just be a normal girl, to have friends, to go out on dates, to not kill herself. So it buried it so much that it became a second alternate personality. And that second alternate personality, which I haven't talked about, is very different from her. Much more assertive, much more direct. And the whole idea is it's all about, I don't want to kill myself, and I'm working with you, Wise, to stop us from killing herself. And eventually the other personality has to step in and take over and use the sword for her, because the other personality knows how to limit itself. It's basically, oh, you're going to use this sword and kill us. I can't stop you from using the sword because you're in charge of this body. I'll take over and I'll use it to the most small amount that I can. And also, there's some limiting element because they are split personality. Not completely, not at all completely, but a little bit. And it's a very great dynamic. And they really needed to play into that with the second personality, and they really need to say in this second personality and Wise and her. Like, there was a great dynamic there, but Wise being a bit of a shit and being stupid for some reason and acting out of character, allowing a girl to kill herself. Wise shouldn't do that. Wise should not be saying, "Ah, yeah, use the sword. Yeah, come on the adventures. You've already used the sword 5 times. I don't know, it'll be fine. What, you losing your memories? You know what? You be you, girl. I believe in you. You should just kill yourself." Like, what are you doing, Wise? It doesn't matter all the fucking options you have in the conversation scenes. Actions speak louder than words. And the actions that Wise takes are the actions of someone who's permitting the death of a friend. It is a total out of character moment for him. Absolutely out of character. Which is really sad, because this is one of the best characters written they've made in the game so far. Let me just point that out. As much as I do not like a lot of what happens in this final chapter here, she is amazing. She is a wonderful character. The people wanting to bankrupt themselves to get 6 copies of her, yeah, I get it. I get it. Look at her. Who doesn't get it? But they drop the ball with Wise, which ultimately leads to some other negatives. Now, throughout this story, there's other elements that are coming into it. But the crux of it is she needs to use a sword to stop things, but other people can step in for her, but people will die because of that. She needs to use the sword to protect people from this creator bullshit in the cult, but she's killing herself to do it, and we can't, like, we're just kind of enabling her. I mean, the story even goes as far as, towards the end of chapter 6, goes to the point of the big heroic moment is, let's accept that she has to use the sword. And I'm sitting here going, excuse me? Excuse me? The Wise that I know isn't saying, no, I don't care, don't use the sword. He's not, like, putting his foot down. He's not going to step up to the plate and say, no, I will find another way, and sacrifice himself, which would be a much more interesting story, because that would kind of juxtapose with hers. Because yes, I know she's going to use a sword. Yes, I know she's going to keep doing it. But you don't need to let Wise enable her and then be so dumb, because it's enabling, but it feels like it's not a malicious enabling. It feels like he's just incompetently stupid. Like he doesn't understand the things he's being told about this sword, right? The sword has logically been placed as an ironclad rule. It eats memories. It kills the user. It is dangerous. And then they give us a good reveal. Now, there's some other elements about, like, the bunny girl and a few of the other characters being involved here. Very okay stuff, good stuff, like building up the politics in the background, like the Tops people being stupid and evil and opportunistic. The sword itself needs the sword has to have a user. They establish in the lore, the sword isn't something you just lock into a bin. They establish that, and this is a reveal, that the sword, if not held by someone, will eventually basically explode and kill everything, right? Essentially, it's a nuclear weapon. It is a thermal nuclear weapon that needs someone holding on to it. It is a weapon that is both a curse, but also like it can't be thrown away. It's so dangerous, but it's so valuable, and it always needs to have a wielder. The reveal is this. The brother and sister weren't accidental in their coming into this sword. The cult, the sect, found out that they were potential people that could hold the sword and engineered them joining the cult. They didn't kill their parents, but they engineered joining the cult as these orphaned kids after a big disaster at the Hollow, so that they would specifically encounter the sword accidentally, quote, quote, and they knew it would connect to one of them. So we have a reveal that the sect we have been with the whole time, not specifically the girl, like big tits Sensei McGee here, not her, but someone above her pay grade, essentially, and someone else who's brought into the story during this chapter is revealed to be a person who essentially enabled this, and that it's something that had to be done, according to them. Because they're like this sword is a nuke. Even if it's a child, someone needs to connect to this sword right fucking now. And to do that, I'm prepared to sacrifice this little girl's life. So the sect is we're questioning the morality of our sect now, right? There's a big twist. That's a big, like, oh shit. This was all preordained. Someone forced this to happen. And you feel bad, because remember, by this point, the brother has not exactly betrayed us, but is essentially working with dark magic and stuff to try and fix this situation. And like using the creator's power. So basically decided to go like, you know what, I'm going to use this Eldritch Abomination's power to try and help with my sister. And it's a great thing because, of course, a good brother would do that. Why the fuck Wise didn't do that, I don't know. Why didn't Wise act like protective? Yeah, I get the idea of like not wanting to, because the whole idea as they go around is that she doesn't want to be treated as like fragile glass. And you're the only one who doesn't. And that's the element. But by making you the one who doesn't treat her like fragile glass, you inadvertently, Wise that is, becomes the one who's entirely okay with her dying. Whereas you should have been more on the brother's side. A person who betrays other people, or not betrays, but at least leaves and does dangerous things with himself to try and find a way to save your sister. Which is actual peak. So, that's our setup, right? I haven't got to how they fucked it up. I'm getting there. Believe me, I'm getting there. But the crux of it is what I've discussed here. The villains go through with their plan. And they go through with their plan. And on top of going through with their plan, just before they go through with your plan, she loses absolutely everything. She becomes a mute clone. I mean, not clone, sorry. She becomes a mute. Oh, sorry, let me get to two elements first. She becomes mute and non-responsive. She's used the sword too much. They've forced her into a position where she uses the sword. She literally becomes like a drooling at the mouth vegetable. The brother comes in with a plan where he's going to use the creator's power to bring her back and fix her. And I was like, okay, so we got some dark magic use here. All right, I'm interested to see what we do. What are the trade-offs here? And then they come in and I go and help out the brother away from the sect. And we manage to like get into her brain and pull her back so her emotions return to a degree. Now, here's the part that goes a little off the rails. So we bring her back from the brink. She's back from the brink. She literally has almost killed herself at this point. She has lemminged herself into the fire. She's basically a walking I want to kill myself thing. She's done it the worst possible. And she still wants to do it. Very much her. Wise, however, continues to enable her, even after bringing her back from the brink. Now, I didn't like the way that they kind of bring her back to the brink. I think it's a little bit too easy. And in another way, the alternate version of herself, her alternate self, also sacrifices herself to save this girl. Like, basically, we get a character death in this arc. The white-haired version of her dies. We've established very clearly that the white-haired version and her are separate personalities. They have the same body and have memories that mix over, but they are separate individuals in a lot of ways. And here's another negative for the story here. They don't really build up the death of the white-haired version of her as much as they should. They really needed to bring up the death of the white-haired version as a much bigger emotional impact. Because the white-haired version eventually enables her as well. Because the white-haired version goes from, I don't want to using the sword, I don't want to die, I don't want us to die, to I'm going to sacrifice myself to allow her to kill herself later. Like, there's a little disconnect here, but the death of the white-haired girl would have been a much more impactful one if they'd done it a bit better. But generally, they didn't give enough chances for that. So that was just a bit of sloppy writing there. But generally, that's the circumstance we find ourselves in. She killed herself almost. We bring her back, and we're here for the final confrontation. And instead of saying, stay the fuck back, we'll find a way to deal with this, we say, you can come to the final confrontation because she's going to summon this big evil thing and destroy the city. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing, Wise? She's going to kill herself. You know she's going to kill herself. We go on an adventure to the final boss. Sarah is kind of fused with something. She's kind of dead, not dead, whatever. I'll get into her in a bit later when I get into the good and bad. Get to the final boss. Remember, we've established very clearly, using this sword will kill her. We've barely brought her back from the edge. A god starts descending. We have failed. A god is descending. A divine, powerful god is descending. We need to kill this divine, powerful god. They also throw it out there. That it is literally something we cannot fight. They say in the text, in the game, in the story, we cannot let this thing get born. If it's born, we lose. So it's not a battle to stop it and kill it. It's a battle to stop its birth. We need to disable it. We need to stop it before it gets to that point. And that's all established. So, but it gets born anyway. Oh shit. She uses the sword. She full powers the sword. She goes full send. This is the big fucking moment. Oh shit. The sword is going to kill her. She has done all this damage to it. She is done. Her death is essentially guaranteed. Or because of the amount of power. Because remember, now I know you're saying like they wouldn't kill her, but let me establish it's guaranteed in the logic of the story. She's used too much of that power. She's using it to suppress and kill a god. Right? And as she's suppressing and killing the god, Deus Ex Machina activates. For those of you who don't know, that's code for absolute bullshit. Wise gets really upset that his waifu is killing herself, so activates his magical eyes and runs in, grabs her, and pulls her away from the battle. Because, just for clear, it's not just that she's using the sword to kill her. The only way to kill it, because, okay, actually, it's even worse. I should have been more clear about this. They say that we can't kill the god with our weapons and normal systems. So she takes the god into herself. She allows it to possess herself, and then she's going to kill herself. She's pulling the god into herself to kill herself is the only way. It's a big, dark moment. What the fuck? But Wise stops her. And you're like, okay, Wise uses his Deus Ex power to run into the battle, grab her, and pull her out of it. Oh, okay. So what now? Do they just get killed by the god? Does the descended being just swap the floor with them? No. Now you can beat it up. Now it's just a boss battle. And you're like, wait. So the god that we can't kill unless you pull it into your body and then kill yourself has descended. Wise stops that using his magical powers. And now we can beat it up? Where is the connection? Where is the logic here? Keep in mind, the Deus Ex power from Wise and his eyes, and Belle's eyes as well, has never been established for what it actually does. And at this point in time, I'm thinking it does whatever the story needs it to do at the given moment. Because suddenly, we can beat it up. Now, remember, she still used the sword a lot. And now she continues to use the sword as we fight against the monster. And we eventually kill the monster, the divine god vessel. We eventually kill it using normal powers. And her using the powers as opposed to letting it into her body. And does she die? No. You know what she says? She goes, oh, wow, now that I have accepted myself and accepted the part of me that wants to be a normal girl, I understand the sword. It understands me. I understand it. So now we don't have problem. Listen here, you piece of shit, Debs. That is not how you write a fucking story. She suddenly goes from the logic. Okay, we are skipping like 3 logical certainties. Her death, the god needing to be killed in this certain fucking way, and oh god, and the fact that the sword eats her brain and memories and is a very dangerous artifact. We're just in the single scene we established none of that matters. The sword, oh no, we get along now, so it's decided to give back my memories. All of the memories I lost throughout the story, they're just gifted back to me. What? Oh yeah, and also, the god that was supposedly only able to kill by using the sword? No, we can beat it up. What? What? The fuck is happening here? This is not a story. This is just emotional bullshit. This is why it is trash. This moment here is why it's trash. It played the most beautiful cutscene, the most gorgeous moments in the story played in this part. You had amazing music, amazing scenery, the fight scenes were great, the art was gorgeous, her ass was good, all of that was peak, and I was sitting there staring at this shit going, what the actual fuck have you done? This isn't story writing. This is an emotional bullshit forced into like a screen and just said, oh, it's so emotional and like deep and shit. Look at like how good we are with story writing. No, if you wanted her to survive, you needed to establish a way to save her. But you didn't. This is what you should have done. You want my advice? This is what you should have done. 1, Wise should not be a fucking enabler. 2, we needed to have some other way. It should have been that the brother came up with a solution to take the burden onto him, maybe. So in the moment where she uses the sword to kill herself, instead the brother does something to kill himself to kill the enemy. And then she could have had an emotional moment where he's like to her, please, I am sacrificing myself just like you are. Please, just love yourself. Just let other people take the burden. We could have had that. We could have had that. We could have had a perfect ending. But no. They want everything to be happy. Out of all the things. And remember, let's pull up our fucking chart again. Expectations, boys. I have been told constantly there is death, there is sacrifice, horrible things happen. I'm told all about these things. Horrible things happening. There is people dying. There is not happy endings for everyone. We have established not everything goes well in this season. This whole season has been establishing about revenge, about how things could go wrong. Death is a real thing in this world. All of these things. And then at the end, they flip it around and say, nah, but courage and love and friendship overcomes all. Welcome to Zenless Zone 0. And I just checked the fuck out. I was just gone. I had no conception of how absolutely just, what are you doing? Oh God, it makes me angry just talking about it. Holy shit, I'm crashing out about a fucking anime game. Fuck. Okay, but let's continue talking. So. Let me pull it up again. So, Foxwoman with degenerative amnesia fights God is absolute trash. And all of these ones here, remember, while they're their own stories, they are set up for chapter 6. And the reflection is horrible. Good goes down. Every one of these, put them down a step. Put all of these down a step. This goes to being good to okay. I would say this one, corpos and human testing, it's just okay. Because, well, I mean, what is it all set it up for? This one, the military shows up. This one gets even worse. This one goes to poor. And you know why this one goes to poor? Is because the girl in the military girl, the colonel that I said is actually working with the cult, she shows up, like, she kills herself in this chapter for her revenge. She goes all the way for her revenge, right? Chapter 6, she shows up again. You're like, whoa, okay, she shows up again. What the fuck? How did she show up? She shows up for no reason at all as a random spirit ghost. They've not established spirit ghosts shit like this before. There's no logical reason for her to show up, but she shows up and instead of just attacking randomly as a monster, no, she helps them out as like a soldier ghost monster for no reason. It's just emotional bullshit for closure. It's just like, oh, we wanted to have a closure moment for that one soldier girl, so we thought we'd bring back a ghost version of her and have her like fight and like then they like show that she's actually a good girl. Oh, that'd be really emotional. And then there's someone in the writer room, but wouldn't that be like really weird and not make a lot of sense? Get the fuck out of here, man. Whoa, don't you want her to have a happy ending? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's what happened in the fucking writer's room, but in Chinese. Because my God, what a fucking mistake. That's just a minor thing, but it reflects even worse on this because it takes away the idea of this girl who sacrifices everything for her revenge, even if she knows it's failure, even if she knows she's gone down there. She's too far gone. She can't come back to, but she actually regrets it, and she's a good old girl. Oh my God, it's a complete mess. Honestly, the concepts honestly sound like a lot of potential. Sadly, they were being held back by being a Hoyo game. Yes. Yes. And I think it's even worse than being a Hoyo game. Hoyo games do fail in... It's one of the big things. Hoyo games don't really do good with big, high epic problems like this. They tend to fall apart at the seams because they're not prepared to go that far, and they didn't write in a logical enough position that isn't just a way to get there. You know? Like, if they had written in a logical position for everyone to be happy, maybe I'd be like, it was all right, I guess. Because, like, you know, they would have foreshadowed it. If everyone acted in character and the logic all was followed through, I'd be like, I guess it's okay then. But I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. The problem is, Hoyo games love really pushing in like cool, interesting ideas and then not delivering on them. They love pulling back from the edge. They should have gone harder, and they did go hard enough, but they always stop right at the edge. If they didn't want to go right all the way, they shouldn't have gone that far in the first place. So once again, yep, chapter 4, go Sleepy. So you know what? Sleepy Octopus Lady is the only one that isn't really affected because comparison to all the others, it's not really that affected. So it just goes to being okay again as well. It's the only one that comes out okay from this as a reflection. But this one goes from being good to being poor. Like, this is straight up poor. Like, not trash, but poor. Because there's still some good things in there. But the reflection power of chapter 6 completely obliterates the previous chapters. And yes, it is because it's a Hoyo game, but we'll get into that in a minute, because there's still one more chapter to go. So let me take this down so we can introduce our new anime girls. Because there are new anime girls. You think, oh, it's done? Is this the end? No. There are more. So, let me pull up the lowlies. Where are they? Idol girls, where are you? Where are you? What? Oh, here we go. Robot, lowly, clanker. That's what we're up for now. So, chapter intermission, which is chapter 7 really, but is an intermission chapter. This is the tale of a lowly idol group and the race war baiting AI. This race war baiting AI was introduced earlier in the stories, in these chapters, so that's something that's already been established, so that's okay. And I'm going to say it right fucking now. Great. Just great. And you know why? Because it doesn't have anything to do with the Waifei Peninsula. It has nothing to do with those fucking sect losers. It is just the story of 3 girls wanting to be idols and them struggling in the industry, and then one of them being like worried about who she really is inside and whether or not she can really be someone who's a friend to these girls. And the story is about helping her get the confidence back while stopping an AI from fucking up the goddamn local dance number because he's trying to start a race war between humans and AIs. It's so self-contained. It is so fucking normal. And it's not the whole fucking city's at risk. Nope. It's not the city at risk. You know what's at risk? It's at risk that whether or not 30 people will get to see the idol girls show up on stage and do some dancing. Like, what the fuck, guys? It's great. It's great. It's great. It's solid. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just okay, there is a bit of reflection, I will say here. I hated chapter 6 so much that the fact that chapter 7, the intermission chapter, goes back to the original place, goes away from the Waifei Peninsula, really, for mostly, and becomes just a cute little side story about helping these girls overcome their courage and get their courage and to become friends. It's great. Let me just read the chat for a second there. She kind of reminds me of Destroy from GFL 1. Oh, yeah, I can see it. I'm more interested in the race war baiting than the lowlies. Yeah, the race war baiting is actually great. Because as I established earlier, in this world, AIs are allowed to be citizens. Like, if you make an evil robot, if you make a robot that kills someone, or like a killing robot, if that robot eventually they can naturally just develop emotions and a sense of self, and then they just do a little test, and the city goes, oh, you are officially considered a citizen. Congratulations, you're no longer a weapon, and you can't be used as a weapon. You're now a citizen. You can go be an idol if you want. We got to remember that the entire of this city has so much weird. It has cloning. Like, I didn't even get into the cloning, or like it has like brain transfers. There's so much shit going on in this city, right? Like, there's so much shit. They even have like, you can transfer your brain in a partial way into a robot body. You can an AI killing robot can become like a citizen. There's like all sorts of super weapon systems. Tech wise, these guys have gone all the way. Like, every sci-fi tech you can imagine has probably been crossed. The line has been crossed there. Yes, that's correct. You're right there. Well-established personal stakes are always better than world-destroying stakes. Yes. And that is what is proven in this one here with Arya and the other ones. And I'll show you the other ones. I think they're around here. We got this one. This one here. Who has a Kansai Ben language. And where's the other one? Is she not out yet? Maybe she's not out yet. Okay, she's not out yet. Huh. I thought she was out. Anyway, and there's one more, but she's not in here. Anyway, the point being, the story is what I've talked about before. Hoyo and the ZZZ devs in specific do great work when it comes to character, story, and their drama. A personal stakes story with the outside influence of, like, yes, the race baiting AI is trying to start a race war in the city because it believes robots and AI are superior to dirty flesh organics. But because the dirty flesh organics solve the whole problem of AIs rebelling by just saying, yeah, you guys can have human rights, I don't care. As long as you pass the test, you're still good. But we still get to get our we still get to get our AI weapon systems. But the moment the AI weapon system gets a brain, we can go, okay, you can go have fun, go to the movies. So they solved that problem, and the AI just kind of wants to start a race war because he's an arrogant bastard, and he's a lot of fun, actually. As a villain, he's kind of fun, which is rare because Zenless Zone Zero's villains are kind of trash. So all you do throughout the lowly adventures is these three little girls are trying to make a name for themselves, and you just help them out. The animation is fun and cute. The story stakes are literally just emotional stakes about people and their relationships, about like how people feel about Arya. I don't know if you can show, maybe I can show her robot side. Oh, look how cute she is. See, like, they're just cute. Just cute. There we go. Aha. So yes. And also, gonna say it, I think the robot side is cuter. But the story is just about her helping her to accept herself, because she was originally a weapons platform, and she like kind of had to come over it, and like overcoming that. Like, the AI is fucking with her, of course, but she has to overcome over things, and we're helping her out. The other girls are also got their own problems that we need to help out with, but mostly it's about Arya here, helping her overcome her struggle to be an idol, and also, you know, deal with past relationships with like with other idols and stuff. It's actually great. It's a personal stake story that really hones in on a wonderful kind of just a small stake story with outcomes that aren't crazy. We're not expecting Wise to kill himself for one of these characters. We're not talking about how there's like some sort of logical, endless, like she's going to kill everyone type thing. They don't establish that. Like, it's a wonderful story. And a complete inversion of everything else throughout this season. It solves the problems that the season 1 brought about. Season 2 had, by just not doing those things. And that brings me into some of the good and bad things that I'd like to discuss. But let's go on to now. So I've discussed all of the stories. There's not much more to say that isn't just a spoiler in another way. So I need to go on to the next part of this. So thank you for listening through this high, because we're going on to stage 2. And stage 2 is this. Let me pull it down. The good and the bad. Let's start with the good. So, The good things that I didn't already mention. Seed. This girl here. Let's pull up Seed so we can see her. She's also known as the anime girl with a really good ass. Like just oh. This girl here, good lord. Let me just see if there's a... Good lord. If they're going to show off her ass... Damn it, they don't show her ass. Fuck. But just trust me when I say she's got a dump truck. Like the best dump truck you ever did see. Anyway, so she has a side story and it's fucking amazing. Of all of the chapters I've discussed, even like how I said the lowly one is great. Her chapter, her single side chapter, which is not even a thing you have to play. You could skip this if you wanted. It's a side fucking chapter story about a character, is the best fucking story in season 2. The story, okay, just for reference, she here is a mechanic girl, but she's also like she's somewhat psychopathic. Basically, she doesn't have a lot of good empathy. And she establishes things through a lot of weird logical ways, and she doesn't understand human emotion perfectly. She does have emotions, they're just weird and warped. Consider her a girl with some serious mental problems that needs help. And the story is about her coming to terms with the fact that her adoptive father is dead. And there is a scene in it where you play as her right at the end where she's truly come to accept that her adoptive father is dead. There is a scene in it where she goes to find his grave, or something that essentially is his grave, and it's heart-wrenching. It's emotional, it's impactful, it's everything I wanted from a serious emotional story in the Zenless setup. Girls with daddy issues. Yes, I am. Give me a truckload of girls with daddy issues if they look like Seed. Thank you very much. And she starts crying in it, and the voice actor and the writing, like, I'm a hard fucking bastard. I love my suffering, but I think I love it because when it gets to points like this, it really squeezes my heart for all it's worth. And it was so good. It was cathartic. It was depressing. It was great because she was looking forward to the future, but she was like devastated and she lost everything, and I just loved it. It was the best part of season fucking 2 is a side story you don't even have to play. Is that a not endemic problem of Zenless Zone Zero? I don't know what is. Her thing was amazing. And it's so aggravating because it leads into another element that I've talked about in the past, but side stories that are so important, because not only is her side story about how she's like a girl, as like a really good story, it also links into Wise and Belle's backstory, because she, small spoiler, is also from the same institute that they have. She has the crazy eye kind of ability sort of stuff as well. She's literally the same as them. That's a big emotional story impactful part. And it's not even ever going to be referenced again because it's in a side story you don't have to do. Zenless, okay, I'll put it this way. Star Rail is great in this way because Star Rail forces you to play through stuff that makes sense. It'll make you go through go through certain like events. It'll make you go through other things if they impact the main story. Generally, it forces you to play those stories in order because it knows you need to know this for later stuff, or it's an important emotional impact. Zenless doesn't. Zenless lets you skip events that have serious story impact. There's characters in this game that if you don't play their event, that you can just walk past, they'll show up and act like they know you. The fucking lowlies, they have an entire fucking event dedicated to them. I didn't play it, so I just showed up at their doorstep and they all said, "Manager!" And I'm like, what? I've never spoken to you. What the hell's going on? Because the game didn't force me to play the event. And furthermore, Seed's side story and a lot of the other side stories are really great, but it doesn't force you to play them either. Oh, see you later. I'm out. All right, fair enough. I know, Arctic. I know I failed you, but thanks for hanging out. So that's a big fucking problem with Zenless Zone Zero. They can make really good stories when they want to, when they're focused on personal stakes, personal development, character-specific things. You don't do well, Zenless, with big things. You don't do well with the end of the world. You don't do well with horrible, horrible end of the world bullshit. Super sword destroys everything. You don't do good there. Don't try it. Just stick with fucking Seed's sad side story, or a bunch of girls just wanting to fucking play music and their friend being really hard, like a bit depressed about who she is and needing the confidence to overcome that. Fuck you. I don't care that it's not the end of the world. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Did you hear the fact that people hated, like, there were, like, absolute cringe lords in Season 1 who played through the story of Season 1 were like, guys, it's a worse story because they don't have a god and the end of the world isn't a cause. They're just fighting corpos. This isn't fun at all. Did you listen to that guy who equates big fucking bombastic cutscene and the end of the world fucking Marvel bullshit? And did you equate that with good quality? Did you fucking lose your marbles so bad that you thought, oh, panic, let's make Season 2 into the end of the world? What the fuck is wrong with you? You can't do it well, don't do it. Or at the very fucking least, very carefully do it. And you didn't. You did not. Sorry. Okay. I get a little bit over the top. So, Seed's side story. It's great. Very quickly, though, character design. Hell yeah, bro. All throughout Season 2, the characters are gorgeous. And if I had to come down to a position of which of these I would fuck, marry, kill, I think I'd have trouble. And mostly on the kill. Because, good lord, I don't want to kill any of these girls. Character acting. And by character acting here, I'm talking about how they act as a person. Like, Seed being, like, weird and broken and warped. She's so interesting and developed. The fox woman being so strange and like wanting to kill herself, and her split personality. While they didn't do perfect things with it in the story, the acting of the characters was actually amazing. It was a very, very well acted story. The acting, quote unquote, for the characters, both the voice actors and how they acted as characters in story was great, except for Wise, because they fucked him up. Visuals in the cutscenes, massive improvement. Massive improvement over Season 1. Oh, shit. Sorry. I fucked up something. There we go. Massive improvement over Season 1. Actual peak. Absolutely no problems. I'd say it's a solid improvement. However, it's notable that these are the only things I've written here. I can jerk to these characters more because they're hotter. The characters act really cool, and they love me, which is great. The action scenes are very nice. I wonder what the bad one says. This is what the bad one says. And yeah. Let's go through them. So, overarching story falls flat. I've already talked about this at length, but yes. Their attempts at making this like cult and the creator, the origin creator as a true big villain, absolute fall flat. Absolute. And that's partially because of elements they do in the lead up to that, and partially due to other things I'll talk about in a moment. But generally, the overarching story here, an attempt to make an overarching story, does fall flat. And it's because they reach too far. But first, we'll go... In fact, I'll say that here. Story too big for ZZZ. I just want to jump ahead and talk about this one first. As I've established, and I just talked about, ZZZ does well with character, personal stakes. Small scale stories. When I was playing through the lowly adventure of like just a bunch of idols, I was grinning. I was smiling. I was like, you know me, the bastard who sees someone suffering in fucking Girls Front Line, and I go, peak. I was smiling. I was having fun with these girls, just having a bit and just like overcoming stuff and being like, we're going to be friends and forever. It was like, fine. I enjoyed myself. You can do that. Sure, we can have some more stakes. Seed's story is a dark story. You could still do stuff like Seed. Just stop doing stuff where you have to destroy the world or there's great big super evil, because you clearly can't do it. I do think right now big bombastic stories are too big for ZZZ. And perhaps Hoyo in general, because they like to drop that ball. The next one. Villains. Now, here's a big problem for ZZZ. Something that I initially was okay with, but later on, especially throughout season 1, I was kind of like, oh, villains are all right. Like, I like some of these villains. They had the corpos and stuff. But the villains through this one are very hit and miss. The best villain from season 2 was the Colonel, Ildolda, who betrays you and wants to, like, kill all the military because she's like, I'm going to kill them all because they're bastards who betrayed and killed all my soldiers and stuff like that, which is fair. She was good. I liked her. Very nice villain. No problems. You could say you could make her better, but, like, I think she was great. But then they ruined her by bringing her back as a random ghost because they couldn't let anything fucking die. You can't let anything end on a sour note. Got to bring back all of our characters and invert all of their story because, of course, we do. Ugh. But a bigger one is this, like, the Thought Form Village, the villains in there, not very interesting as well. Once again, kind of one track, but they had the potential to be developed. Here's the biggest problem they have, though. This is the biggest one. Okay, actually, no, I'll save something up for that one. A lot of their villains that they have are quote-unquote villains. Like, you make the Krampus corporate goon squad girls, make them the villains, but they're not really the villains. They don't really become much. They're good characters, but we already know they're not villains. They're at most an anti-hero aspect, and then eventually they inevitably become heroes. So it's not that much. But the big problem and the biggest failure, and the one that I need to talk about here, is Sarah. Sarah is the big villain of season 1. When she appeared first, I thought she was just like a cute, hot girl who was going to be like maybe a helping out for the fun of it, like just to get money. But she's a cultist. And Sarah's story, they try and rush through it in chapter 5, is so uninteresting. They don't build her up. She's just crazy for the sake of being crazy. And all moments of interest they have for her, they barely do anything. So she is just a tool. She's a plot tool whose entire response to everything is keikakudori. What's that? The heroes beat my cultist plan? Don't worry. That was just the minor distraction plan for my bigger plan. It's always fucking like that. She never does anything different. She's so uninteresting. But perhaps the worst problem is the creator themselves. The creator god. The idea behind the creator god is excellent. I'll say that. An eldritch being that even, like, they show off, especially in season 1, they do a great job of this. The creator is never, you don't speak to the creator directly. You just see people who are either crazy for the creator, like cultists, but you occasionally see people who have experienced something. You don't know what they experienced, and they never tell you what they experienced, who comes out and they're suddenly like a believer. They like lose their mind. They're like, it's very clearly some like eldritch abomination level creator. It is a godlike being that we don't understand. And it's super powerful. And it's like, oh. And you don't even know if it's evil. We can like even consider the creator might have been like this kind of like a creature that doesn't understand what it is and is like acting in a way that we just can't comprehend. There's a lot of interesting element to be said about a god or a character like this. It's like, imagine this. Your villain that the cultists are using isn't really a villain. It's just a force that we can't really truly comprehend, but we still must stop it because like they say at the end in season 1, they want to release the creator, and a lot of them, the character who releases the creator is like, the creator is going to end all suffering. It's going to save us from all this suffering. It's going to be the true divine position that will save us from suffering. And it's like, okay, that's what you believe about the creator. That's interesting. Like, you're probably wrong, and it's probably going to lead to a bunch of stuff, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why I wouldn't want that to happen, even if humanity is very evil and wrong. But it's interesting. However, how did they fuck it up in season 2? They gave it a voice. The creator talks to you. The creator talks to a lot of people. And you know what the creator sounds like? It sounds like a 2-bit fucking villain who's all like, yes, I'm the best. You are but peons before me. I am true great. And you are that you will keep me. Yes, sacrifice yourself to my glory. They give it a fucking voice. And they make it sound like the most stereotypical, shitty villain you've ever imagined. All they had to do was nothing, and they still failed that. The creator went from being an interesting, weird, concept of a character to let's explain it and give it the worst possible backstory. Now, I know there are some people out there saying, oh, but they revealed that that wasn't the creator. That was just a vessel of the creator's divine power. No, that was the creator. You telling me that the voice... Yeah, sure, the voice, okay, it was a fragment of the creator, whatever. It had a voice like that, it was acting like that, then the whole acts like that. That thing is cringe as shit, and I am so uninterested to see it in the future. I honestly hope the arc of the creator and the fucking cult is immediately removed. I'm more interested in the race war baiting AI than I am in anything to do with the fucking cult at this point. It is a complete failure and leads directly into why the overarching stories fell flat. Because they have these poor fucking characters we're dealing with. You can make all of the best rollable girls and characters ever, but you gotta give them good villains, and you gotta let them be villains. I think one of the big issues with these gachas, and Hoyoverse gachas in general, they won't let villains be villains. Too often, they come up with a great idea for a villain, but then they come up with, and they fall in with this idea, and they fall in love with it. And they fall in love with it so much that they also don't want it to be a villain anymore. They want it to be someone we can interact with, be friends with, be close to. Then they change the story, so they're no longer a villain. They're just a character that shows up, is a little gruff, maybe is a little bit against the main character somewhat at first, but eventually becomes bestest friends. Let your villains be villains, please. You should not take your quality away from that. Make a good villain and commit to them being a villain. Sure, you can do interesting things with them, but just because they're a villain, make your villains rollable if you really want to. Just don't make them have a friendship element. Just don't have any, oh, go to the movies with Sarah, or whatever. Just don't do that. Just have a rollable villain character type that doesn't have to be like a friend in the lore. Just, who cares? You have the villain in your party now. I don't care. Just do that. Just let a truly well-written character be evil. Let them be a villain. Let them be Palpatine. Don't fucking twist it around and say, but actually, she's a misunderstood as she loves you, as she wants your penis. Like, I just don't care. Give me a good story. Because one sacrifice on the altar of being a villain means everyone else's stories matter so much more. And that's what they don't get. It's actually a big failure. Emotion over logic. I talked about this at best in chapter 6 when I was talking about the Fox, but Zenless Zone Zero truly failed because of emotion over logic. Gachas don't have the rollable villains, have a cowards. True. None of the Hoyo games have ever had a main plot that has ever kept me interested. Yeah. I understand. I think I'm just on copium whenever I enjoy the plots. I think the main overarching plots for Hoyoverse games tend to fuck up more often than they don't. Star Rail, I love Star Rail. I really do. I really do. The main plot in that just keeps losing me every fucking patch. Genshin, same thing. Hoyoverse has a very poor history with main stories. They can do great character stories and great moments of stories, but they fuck up when they take it too far. When they try and press for something more high quality, especially something with danger and threats on the line, they just shit the bed. They shit the bed way more often than not. Think of all of the Hoyoverse games and how, like, the good stories were the ones you remember are like the more kind of like there wasn't big problem stories. But when it comes to the big stakes kind of moments, they kind of shit the bed if you think about it. And if you stop thinking about all of the flashing lights, Hoyoverse isn't the best at it. So yes, Hoyoverse really needs to reconsider, or perhaps redo its story approach to larger plots more around this. Maybe that means less large plot, or maybe that means they put more effort in and they make a long-term story. Like, don't be like Marvel and just kind of make the shittiest fucking overarching plot and pay no attention. You need to put in your effort. Like, come on, we're not phase fucking 4 Marvel or whatever the hell we're up to. Chekhov's forgotten story elements. This leads into emotion over logic. It brings in elements that then it just kind of doesn't do anything good with or ignores. And that comes into the emotion over logic. You know, the sword can kill yourself. The sword will kill you. Chekhov's story element of the sword's going to kill you. No, inverted, because we want a happy ending. Does it all the time. And anytime you see something dark and like a law almost established of like this is going to happen or this will happen if we do X or Y, more often than not, just expect it to be invalidated by some bullshit. I'd like at least may give me the Chekhov's, stop being bullshit and give me Chekhov's like happiness weapon, you know? Give me the shotgun of happiness put over the mantelpiece for Chekhov, please. At least foreshadow the bullshit. That'd be nicer. Again, I said torso too big. And of course the big finale is a failure. In Zenless Zone Zero, they screwed up the big finale. And as I discussed, unloaded gun, Chekhov's unloaded gun. Yes, they pulled the trigger and like the little flag came out that said bang. And I'm like, Yes, so we have reached generally the end. There's still one more thing to go, but it's the most important thing. But here we are at the end of season 2. Can I recommend Zenless Zone Zero? You know. And there's a reason I said yeah at the start there. If you play Zenless Zone Zero and you do not engage with any of the side content and combat, you don't waste money on it, you don't put any effort into trying to be on the leaderboards, you don't try and get all the numbers to go higher, you don't have the inability to ignore getting all of your dailies. If you can ignore all that and overcome all that, the game is just a simple, free JRPG. They give you the characters for the combat. You don't need to worry about building teams. You'll be able to get through the story and most story side content easy as. However, you need to know that if you're the person who builds up expectations, don't expect more than what we see for some of those early Season 1 stories. Well-contained, personal staked stories with cute girls. Serious, yes, but limited in that they're serious for those people in the moment. Don't expect them to be able to pull off the big ones. Don't expect them to be able to truly go all the way. And as long as you turn your brain off, especially around Season 2, I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed it. I'm sure there are people out there who played through Season 2 and think I'm a complete fucking idiot, who just cried at the emotional moments and was smiling and so happy when Horse Girl got her memories back, and didn't pay attention to the failures of story or the plot elements or the messes up of Wise's character. If you can ignore all that, yeah, play it. Oh, also the big area, one big fucking thing I need to put in there. Fucking, I'm so annoyed with this. Give me more Belle. What the hell, bro? Belle is an important... Okay, this is another one of those, we're setting something up, but we're not setting something up. Belle, or the sibling you don't choose, is often just there. Occasionally they'll try and give her some moments, and like when they give her moments, I'm happy. But more often than not, she's just a side character. She doesn't have any superpowers. She doesn't get any abilities. She's always shown to be inferior to Wise. She's always just at home playing games and not doing anything. I know they're setting her up for some big issue where there's like a problem between Belle and Wise, but it's gonna fall fucking flat if you just keep making Belle be no one. You need the other sibling to be way more involved in the story. What I'm saying is this. I need to see Belle in cutscenes. I need to see Belle being there with us in those speaking scenes. Belle needs to be a dual protagonist in this story, not a side thought. Like how Ruby was shafted for how Oshinoko... Yes. Good example. Oshinoko needed to have Ruby and Aqua established as both, like, giving them both time. I can get maybe Aqua having more time, but fucking Ruby needed more time as well. And that's why Belle needs to be here. Belle needs to be a character, not a side thought. Belle should not go when there's an emotional moment happening, or there's an emotional, like, kind of, we're getting close to this girl, like, or something like that. Don't make Belle just leave. Don't make Belle just go, I'm going home to fix the HDD. Make her hang out with us. Make her stay. Make her have more emotion and response. Don't make her be, we go through the story and then there's an after mention where Belle goes, that's so horrible. Or like another character says, you are great, Proxy Wise. I love you. Also, Belle's here. Like, it's just a complete fuck up with that. It is really sad because this is an unforced error. We know that the future of the story is going to involve Belle being a main entity, or Wise if you're playing Belle, as an issue comes about, right? And like we've already established, there's a lot of sibling and kind of like brother-sister stories throughout this that are good parodies and like foils for Belle and Wise's story. Like the idea of what they could do with it is really good. Belle maybe could see the future at some point, or maybe Belle comes to believe that she should do other things to save it, and then the Wise doesn't agree, similar to how like the fox guy, the horseman and the horse sister in the story did for chapter 5. There's things we can do here, but they just keep missing it. It's a very much unforced error. And it's going to be a big regret for them, I think. Ultimately, if I was rewriting this, instead of having Belle just be the one who doesn't get her superpowers, who doesn't have the Deus Ex abilities, is the one that I would have it have like this. The sibling you chose links with with fairy AI. That's fine. The sibling you don't choose also has their powers. But unlike you, whose powers are developing more carefully and you're controlling them and just carefully, we'll say that this other sibling, they also develop their powers, but they develop them much faster and they have a less control over them. That's why you could explain them not being involved in some things if you want to have them the other character, but you could build up something from that. I imagine that if I see, oh, Belle's struggling with her power and it's become it's a lot of power for her, or something like that, or something interesting, like maybe her power is fundamentally different from my power. That's interesting. But all they've done is made it so like, oh, Belle off sibling is kind of trash, not as good at you at all the things, because that way we don't have to make her come out. Also, she's inferior at the magic stuff, and she doesn't hang out, and she doesn't have any lines to develop her character and relationship outside of like a handful of scenes throughout the goddamn game, and we can't fucking hang our entire main plot off that. Minus, you know what, I'd say this. Minus one of the rollable characters you're going to throw into a new chapter and add Belle in there in terms of how much plot story they get. They need to have the character. Belle needs to be right there with you. And I think it's a big fucking failure that she's not. All right. Now, the final question. Who's best girl? The final question. Let me just take a drink of this because my throat is sore from ranting so much. My coffee is gone cold because I was ranting so much. But my throat feels better now. All right. Now, let's go back to here. Seed does things to me. I see Seed's ass and I'm just like, oh, Blot's forehead, brothers. But let's have a look. Let's go through. We'll pick it. We'll see. We'll do season 2 girls only. Only season 2 girls. Seed is up there. Nah. Okay, who else have we got here? I really do like Fufu. Specifically because of her ass. Let me show it. Look at that ass. She's hiding it, and she's so cute. Fufu is actually lovely. Lovely Fufu. Fufu is fucking lovely as fuck. But unfortunately, there is another. So, no Fufu. Her, she's cute. And I like her personality. But no thank you. A little too plain for my business. Even with the biggest hits so far. This girl, despite being from one of the more okay storylines, does activate my almonds. But I thought about it long and hard. And clank. No, actually. No, I'm kidding. That was just funny. I would not want to actually, to be honest, of the 3 lowly patrol, I do actually For some reason, my brain really does turn on when I see the robot version of her. I don't know why. But no, Sensei is a big fucking thing. It's really between these two. But here's my problem. Okay, I love this girl. Her design in her like normal everyday outfit is gorgeous. Like her flowing sundress virgin killer outfit will one-shot me every single time. But good lord, Sensei. Let me just get in here a bit. Look at that body line. Good fucking lord. Look at that. Good lord. I know this is Gooner hours. This is Gooner hours. But brothers, look at that. Look at that. Well, okay. To be fair, I'll show off her in the zooms. Nice. Some nice ass. Sure. Good. And look, she's so cute. Look at her. She's so great. I have to give it to Sensei. Unfortunately, I know Horse Girl. Everyone loves Horse Girl, and I do get it. But the plot elements ultimately really do reflect poorly on how I feel about the girl. Sensei, despite being involved in these things, never really has a bad moment. In fact, and I've always just liked... What can I say? Leather one piece and melons for days? I can't not. I can't not. And I'm a hot pants guy. I see hot pants, I press like. And while these aren't technically hot pants, and you can't see her ass in this because I can't spin her around, but let me just tell you, she's got it going on in the back. Alright, Guna hour's over. Congratulations to Sensei. Or Shifu, as they say in the Japanese. I'm not going to say don't know how to fucking say the goddamn Chinese. But congratulations. You are the hottest PNG in the game. God, I'm unemployed. But yes, and so ends our discussion here. Let us pull up the chart one more time. Undefeated chart. Undefeated. It is sad that we could reach this point, but I'm glad that you came to sit down for my rant. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope my crash out entertained you. Remember, if you've watched this now, please go check out my main channel. The actual things I make, not these rant videos. I do make videos on anime and manga and games, so go check it out. Please watch it. Spread it around if you want. I always appreciate it. Check out the Patreon if you want to help out. But I enjoyed if you just hang with me here. Thanks for chilling. And I'll catch you all tomorrow, where we're going to continue finishing off and playing our game of Black Mesa. So I'll catch you there, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. Catch you in the next one.